What is going on, guys? We are here for episode 9 of the Forge Sports Podcast. You'll notice we are virtual. Trey caught the stomach bug back on Monday. We've been trying to figure out the right time to do this, and we're making it happen because obviously Vegas is tomorrow, but today, as of when we're posting, I may just go ahead and upload this bad boy tonight. I mean, we need to get this out to the.
Whatever works, works. And
We'll
so,
make it happen.
we've got to make these picks for Las Vegas. We're also going to talk about the All Star weekend. We're going to talk about the latest with Gannon Buhr and the lawsuit between him and Prodigy.
Wow.
And if we've got some time at the end, we've got a little Foshi's fun and games.
Definitely. Let's start off because I know it's the topic that people probably care about the most, like urgently. Though I think the season as a whole is the most important thing. We've got Gannon Buhr, Multi-World goes and posts their article discussing the lawsuit that Prodigy puts in place regarding Gannon and what really seems like him proclaiming an early termination of his contract. And not a great look off the bat. We don't want to get into speculation. We don't think it's the right thing to do. We're not here to pick sides. We're here to tell you the facts behind it. But
Right.
Prodigy suing Gannon, Trey.
Yeah. So I've been trying to do as much research as I can on this. I'm not a legal expert by any means. And so, like Thomas said, we're not going to get into the details of who we think is right or wrong because there's just not enough information. I think the biggest takeaway for me, and Thomas, you can talk about this, what you think as well. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is this is like a just a lose lose situation. I think it's a lose for Gannon because I mean it's never fun to get sued, but if you look into some of the details, it does just seem like there might be um there seems like there's fault on both sides. It's hard to say for sure, like I said, but it's never fun to get sued. And Prodigy, it's never fun to sue your star athlete when you're trying to get them to stay. And
Right.
so I
The
think
the
all
way that
around
the way I particularly view some of this, and I come at this, took one business law class, and I have a business background, and so like I've spent time with contractual agreements in some of my prior internships, and I see service agreements between us and businesses and the role I'm currently in. And so, technically speaking, yeah, there is a contract in place. And there was some questions you and I had on, like, to what extent is this valid based on Gannon's age? We had heard some rumblings. Maybe this isn't a valid contract. Obviously, as we see in the court filing particularly mentioned is the co-signer of his mother,
right.
which makes it a valid contract. Technically speaking, probably it is him co-signed, so he kind of does have that true enforceable contract. The one thing I keep hearing that throws me off a little bit is like, oh, like, will Gannon Buhr be sponsorless throughout the year, which is like, regardless of how this goes. Like, I heard this on the why am I losing the Trevor Staub doing the around the horn uh, type
But debate
show?
night.
Yes, I forgot that. I guess that's the new format for debate night. Uh, they kept mentioning the idea, like got brought up by a couple of them, like, oh, he will be sponsorless, which makes no sense. I mean, Gannon or not Gannon, Prodigy is specifically saying they want to maintain this contract, and Prodigy is required legally to pay Gannon for this. So there's no reason. Like, Gannon may not particularly push, but he will get paid at least what he currently is contractually said to be paid.
Unless they're saying he's in breach of contract. And then there could be the possibility that he owes Prodigy money throughout the lawsuit. And
That
so
could happen in that regard, though he would, like, on the general, be obligated to be paid money. Though obviously this is going to be based on damages on the like back end of this. Like,
right, right. There's all kinds of things that we can speculate on that we don't need to get into necessarily. But yeah, I think it would be I think Prodigy would be remiss to allow him to be quote unquote sponsorless. I
Right.
think even this year, I mean, you saw Gannon throw on the Prodigy hat the last round of the All Star event. Um, he's still tagging Prodigy in the posts, so it appears that moving forward, he's going to be representing Prodigy and fulfilling that contract. That's what it seems like. But we'll
Right.
just see how the season plays out. We'll probably know more tomorrow.
I I'm convinced it probably won't be anytime soon. I think this will be a long term play out unless they settle.
Yeah, that's the only way out because it's gonna be like things like this. It's not something that's gonna happen quickly. It's gonna take time. So hopefully they figure out something outside of court to
The
solve
good
the.
thing that comes out of something like this is that moving forward, and this should have already been the case. Anytime you sign an agreement like this, there needs to be a buy. I mean, obviously, Gannon and his team are alleging that there were breaches on Prodigy's side, but there need to be buyout clauses in these contracts. There's no
Oh,
reason not to. There was one in
absolutely.
San Francisco one. I don't know why there wasn't one in this one.
Yeah, I think as you're seeing the disc golf world become more and more professional, you're seeing these contracts like Simon's that have the buyout clause that's very similar to situations in other professional sports. And so I think what you're going to see is, I mean, we've already had some sports like agencies move in with Schaefer, and I'm sure there are others. I know Nate Perkins has also become an agent of sorts. He's negotiating contracts and things like that. And so
Right.
you're seeing representation happening on a higher level than it has in years past. So you're going to see better contracts for the players happening. And that's going to also create some more, I think, legal obligation to fulfill these contracts. Because prior to this contract, people have just left their contracts. There's not been anything that's bound them to it. And so I think we'll see better contracts in the future. And hopefully this can be a catalyst for things like that.
Agreed. Agreed. It doesn't look good on either end, and you're spot on with that at the beginning. It's a lose lose for both parties. Nobody
Yes.
looks good. Prodigy, whether or not they're right, will look bad based on this. Whether or not like it's their fault, like that, regardless of speculation. Like let's just in the assumption that Prodigy was 100% right, they still look bad.
Because Gannon is so beloved. He is the like this the well, no pun intended, but the prodigy child of
Oh
disc
yeah.
golf right now. Like he's 17 years old. He won USDGC. He's a lovable guy. He's so fun to watch. He's super solid, just as a
Mhm.
person in general. And so it's going to be a bad look on Prodigy, like you said, whether they're right or not. Suing someone as likable as Gannon is going to be a bad look from the fan and media perspective.
Without a doubt. So we won't touch too much more again. And I mean, like Trey said, it just isn't good in general to speculate. We recommend that you don't either. It's okay to read through documents, make logical decisions based on the information that we have present, but picking sides based on emotion is not the right way to go. And so we'll leave it at there. All Star Weekend, Trey. You lost a bet.
I did. I thought Team Macbeth had it in the bag, but they quite obviously did not. Even losing Ricky Wysocki and adding Corey Ellis.
Which Corey Ellis absolutely shredded
He
all weekend.
absolutely did. Kudos to him for jumping in, not really expecting to be playing the event. And then Ricky goes down with a wrist injury, and he just steps up and dominates on his behalf. I mean, it's a good look for Corey Ellis going into Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think. Well, honestly, today during our personal draft that we were doing, at least my group that was doing it, I picked Corey Ellis very early on. He just
Nice.
gave me a lot of confidence that he can really dominate this weekend if he wants to. So I think he's a safe pick.
Oh, for sure. If he was available in my draft, I would have picked him. I picked up some guys I was pretty excited about. I had the number one pick, right?
You did. You got Paul McBeth. Trey
Yeah, I had
unfortunately
the
had
I
to
had
auto
the
draft his first few.
Yeah, I had to auto draft. I was at a small group of church, but um, so
Overall, the
I
All
mean, I
Star
got
weekend, the setup was interesting. The distance competition, the fact that they weren't basing it based on spot landed on originally, but rather spot finished, meaning that rollers were in play. Kind of an odd setup, not consistent.
yeah, m- my fix for that is rollers are fun to watch for me. I think it's an entertaining shot. What you have to do is if you're going to allow the roller, that needs to be clear from the beginning because Simon can obviously throw super far rollers. Um, but my fix is if you've got six throws, three of them are air shots, three of them are rollers, and you take your best air shot from, like you said, from where it lands, not from
Mm-hmm.
where it skips to, and then you take your farthest roller, and those are your two shots that count.
Right. And I mean, I guess the hard part is if you're not like a roller person, then obviously you're not going to play any distance. It, it's just a tough one. Like maybe a perfect solution doesn't exist, but I agree that's a very nice happy medium.
Well, I, I think at their level, like Simon and Calvin can obviously throw super far putter or rollers. Kyle Klein shown that he could throw an amazing
Mhm.
roller. I think he had the furthest distance, right?
He did.
That's impressive with those guys. Even with the roller, I still think that's impressive. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think hopefully those things will be a little more clear
The
next
one
year.
thing I particularly wanted to talk about is that the accuracy competition. I like it. It's the same as it was last year with the what is kind of ratchet straps around the trees, up down, kind of making a tic tac toe board almost. Or I
Yes.
guess it really is like I guess the bottom doesn't have a tic tac toe to it because you throw completely underneath, but you do have the box straight in the middle. So I guess the two along of the trees and then connecting the straps together to make a square in the middle. Uh, Interesting. Sarah Hokum hits the ace.
Yeah, that was awesome. I
I saw that sucker live. That was a
uh,
fun one.
I missed it. I missed it live, but I definitely saw the replay. It was a an awesome shot. Sarah Hokum, wicked with the forehand. She's
Oh yeah, what an interesting
impressive.
one with like the almost throwing it 90 degrees down and then just
Yeah, her form is very unique, but it obviously works for her. She is pretty much competitive in every single event she plays, throwing almost exclusively forehand, which
right.
that's hard to do on any level of this sport. I tried it for years and failed miserably, so I had to finally start throwing a backhand. But
Definitely.
uh,
The putting though, and again, shout outs to the FPO side.
yeah,
Alexis
Alexis
absolutely
Mondial,
shredding it.
yeah, she killed it. I think she beat all the MPO guys. So
Yeah,
I
I
think the
believe
best score
maybe it
overall.
was Corey Ellis had 42 and Alexis had 43. I
That is
think that was
extremely
it.
impressive.
It's unreal. I think she went was it 5 for 5 or 6 for was it 6 at each station
It
or
was
was it
five at
5?
each station.
5 at each station went 5 for 5 at the like 45 footer station. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Absolutely nuts. So
it was very impressive, and yeah, it was a great showing for the FPO crew overall. And we didn't say this before, but Team Katrina takes down Team Own, and
oh yeah.
so shout out to Team Katrina there for taking the dub.
They
But
absolutely
yeah,
crushed it all weekend. I believe was it Jennifer Allen that won the distance competition for them.
I mean, I would assume so, only because I saw that I think Ella Hansen had some struggles keeping it in
Yeah,
the.
she actually didn't throw nearly as far as I anticipated she would, given that she won the USDGC.
I think she had some issues. I don't know if it was like keeping the disc in bounds or what it was. I didn't actually get to watch that event either, but yeah, I noticed her numbers were much lower than what she did at USDGC. So
Right.
um,
And then on the NPO side, doubles was a fun time to watch. I mean, it's nice to see guys absolutely shred. Simon goes out there on the singles side, absolutely dominates, shows the MVP bag is like absolutely ready for tournament season.
Yeah, I was impressed particularly with his putting. If you've watched some of his videos on like that he's posted, that has been his main struggle. Of course, he's still learning discs. He will speak highly to the distance drivers being a tough spot for him, but that all went away at All-Star Weekend because he absolutely dominated with his new bag.
Oh yeah, I was all there for it. So
You and
it's a
me
good time
both.
for sure.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and mention it. I've got to play 9 holes offhanded, which is gonna
Which
be
we
an
say
experience.
offhanded. Let's make a clarification, Trey, just so that people know. You
Yeah.
are, and I think we mentioned last week that there's a person way back in like 2016 playing with you that called you amphibious. Why did he call you amphibious, Trey?
Well, so I confuse everyone I play with because I throw left-handed, both forehand and backhand, but then I putt right-handed. So it's like the opposite of what Will Schustrick's doing now. But that's what I've done my
First, the
entire
first guy
career.
calling you amphibious. It was like, what? It's a classic Trey story.
Oh, yeah, so we were playing at Tennessee State's, and I was playing with this guy, and he's got the pretty strong country accent, and he looks at me after 3 or 4 holes, noticing I'm using both hands, and he looks at me and he's like, "Man, you're amphibious. You throw both your hands." And I just the whole card just burst out laughing, and I think he was being serious. I think he got the words mixed up, which is totally fine. He could have been making
It
a
was
Yogi
fun.
Bear.
It's a good story years down the line.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He could have been making a Yogi Bear reference, but I think he thought that amphibious was the right word.
Right. So
Um,
Trey will be doing 9 holes where he throws with his right hand on longer throws, and then anytime he's putting, he puts with his left hand. So that's the caveat right there, and what we mean by offhanded. So we'll film that. We'll post that either separately, maybe mixed in with the podcast. We'll make that happen here in the upcoming
oh,
weeks.
for sure.
I'll definitely make sure that actually happens.
Sweet. So, we're here. The regular season's here. Las Vegas Challenge is here. I
So
am
freaking excited.
I'm so excited to watch live disc golf. I am stoked. And so what we're going to be doing for the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the majors is we'll do these previews where we talk about the tournament a little bit. I'll let Thomas talk a little bit about the tournament, and then we'll be making our picks for the MPO and FPO sides. We'll make our top 3 selections, and we'll keep up with it throughout the year and see who performs better. We might throw some
So
simulation on there at the end. But Thomas, yeah, do you want
obviously
to?
Las Vegas Challenge, first Elite Series event of the year, 4 round tournament starting on Thursday, and we've got an absolutely stacked field. It feels like every single year the field just continues to just run down the line with people that anybody could top five the event. Like I don't think. I mean, it honestly, it takes me until probably 75% or 80% down the list where I'm like, okay, now we're probably into people that I could guarantee aren't going to make a top five. I say guarantee, and that I mean, even still, like, these are great disc golfers out here.
Well, yeah, you go all the way down to even a guy like, and not to say that this is a bad golfer at all, but you go down to a guy like Luke Humphreys. Last year, he got fourth at Vegas. Luke Humphreys started out the season super hot last year, and he did cool off a little bit. But I mean, like you're going. I mean, I don't know, maybe 50 people down the list or more to get to a guy like to get to a guy like Humphreys,
Right.
and we know that he can compete on these courses.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So it'll be interesting. Supposedly the weather is really tough. I know Brody and Ezra were posting about there being snow currently. I think it's supposed to be windy, relatively rainy, obviously cold. So I think the conditions are about to be miserable. So
Dude,
good
I
luck to
didn't even
everybody
know it
playing
snowed
out
in
here.
Vegas.
I didn't know. I didn't either. You could kind of barely see it in Brody's story. He mentioned obviously because of the camera and it being really fine anyway. It was going to be hard to see. So who knows? It could really be if it's windy, it becomes anybody's game. It's like an Emporia Country Club type uh, event. I mean, you play out there with like And Vegas doesn't play nearly as tight,
Right.
but still, wind is wind, and that'll make any events
Oh
way
yeah,
more
I think
difficult. And
even
anybody can take it at that point.
yeah, I think even an open course allows the wind to have even more effect. You have to be incredibly accurate and feel like you can throw your overstable discs well and feel comfortable with them in your hand to succeed on this level. It's going to be a tough tournament, especially with these wind gusts and apparently snow. And so I'm excited to see how it plays out. Thomas, I want your top three. Let's start with the FPO side. Who do you have taking it down on the FPO side?
I feel like I've got a pretty good idea. You know, understandably, Qatar not playing in this event, so there's a lot on the line for somebody to start off the season with a win and then lead into another with kind of like an edge over Kristen going into another event. I'm gonna go. This is such a tough one.
And we'll go third through first if that makes things a little easier.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so in number three, I'm gonna take Katrina Allen. And
It's a
number
solid pick.
and number two, I'm gonna go Missy Gannon.
Makes
And
sense.
number one, I'm gonna go with Jennifer Allen.
Wow. Okay.
I think she's been really taking it serious this offseason. Some of her tournaments leading up to now, she's been absolutely crushing it. Uh, I think she's got everything in her to absolutely take it down. So I'm rooting for Jennifer Allen this weekend.
There you go. I like those picks. Um,
How are you running it, Trey? Who you got?
so we've got one of the same, not in the same order. So in third, I'm gonna take Ella Hansen.
Got it.
I think big course needs big distance. And obviously Ella Hansen has that. So I'm excited to see how she plays in the wind. I think it will play to her advantage. I've also got Jennifer Allen on my top three, but I've got her coming in second.
Awesome.
I'm totally in agreement with your justification there, though, because
Mhm.
she has killed it this offseason. She, like you said, has obviously taken it very seriously. She's been in the game for so long. Her PDGA number, wow, it's 15,000. Like, she's been playing for a very long time and has been playing at an extremely high level for a very long
Yeah.
time.
Well, no, she took number one at Shelley Sharp. She took number one at the Maricopa Open. She took number two at Goat Hill. I did that in the almost reverse. No, I did that in the right order.
She did.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like absolutely crushing it. So
And then wins the distance competition at the All-Star Weekend. I think has one of the hot rounds at the All-Star Weekend as well.
yeah,
And so, I mean, she's poised for a great year, and she'll start off strong. This course plays to her strengths as well. But winning this weekend, figuring out her putting in the off season, Evelina Salonen is taking it
right.
down.
All right. All right. I'll be waiting to see it. You know, I mentioned that I really thought Evelina was going to really figure it out this offseason back in one of our first few podcasts. I'm very hopeful because I think she could crush it if she figured out that one aspect of her game.
Oh, for sure. I think just someone to watch this season, and maybe just this tournament in particular, is Kona now Montgomery. I just now
Right.
noticed that she has officially changed her name on PDGA.
Well,
Kona,
that's when you know it's like real. Like, you know, there's marriage certificates, driver's licenses. That doesn't really matter. It all
it's,
comes down
it
to
comes down to your PDGA.
bingo.
But after signing the big deal, kind of had a disappointing season, and so I'm excited to see how she plays. I think maybe a little bit of pressure off her back in a full year with her new bag. I think Kona could bounce back and have a really strong season. She's shown in the past how well she can play, so I'm excited to see if she can pull that off and maybe rip off some top fives this year.
Awesome. Trey, you want to kick us off on the MPO side?
I would love to. So in third place, and this is a little bit of a dark horse pick, but I'm going Brody Smith coming in third place.
Okay, I was very excited for Brody, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, no, I did get Brody in my draft. I did pick Brody in our personal draft.
Very nice. Yeah.
He has been working this off season. He's been losing weight. He's been really getting himself in shape. A lot of stress off the knee. I think that's a great
Yeah.
pick.
And I think the biggest thing with that is how he played at the DDO last year. This
Yeah.
is going to be similar wind conditions. And Brody pulled off a podium finish there. He's only improved since that tournament. And so if Brody was ever going to win a tournament, I think this would be it. I think he's going to come up a little bit short, but he's going to start out the season strong with a podium finish.
Here, you got a number two.
Number two, I'm going to go with a guy who who switched companies this year and has really been putting a lot of work. I think his first full year on tour. I'm going Anthony Barella coming in second.
Ooh. All right. All right.
And
Coming on
so,
with the new blood. There with the new discs. I love it.
yes, sir. And then at number one, this guy's been fighting hard for his first Pro Tour win. He's gotten second, I don't know how many times, but the Alabama man himself, Matthew Oram, is taking down the Las Vegas Classic, Las Vegas Challenge in a absolute all out battle with him and AB. I may even predict extra holes. We might have to
All right.
go to a playoff.
All
But
right, Trey.
Mattio's taking it down.
All right. Don't get me wrong. I love the pick. My only hesitancy there is that for some reason I didn't feel like he and Corey Ellis were putting it together in the doubles matchup. Uh, there were just some moments that I was like, gosh, they're just a little bit away, absolutely unstoppable. But I say that all to say, Trey, I'm coming in hot at number three with Corey Ellis. Don't get me wrong, do love Matty O. Matty O's fun to watch, and obviously, I just mentioned that they went into hole 18 through what I believe was maybe it was out of bounds or almost out of bounds. They ended up tying their doubles match rather than winning on hole 18.
Right.
They took a par, and why am I forgetting who they were? They matched up against Paul and Isaac.
That sounds
Can't
right.
remember. I can't remember who it was for sure. But the other team took a birdie. So Corey Ellis is coming in at number three,
Okay.
and I'm gonna run some classic picks right here. Obviously Simon is playing hot. Simon is going to take number two. He's not going to take it down. I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to really put it together for 4 rounds straight, but I think he's going to absolutely shred it this weekend. Simon's my number two. And my number one, and I don't think there's ever any doubt that this one's going to happen. But Eagle McMahon is going to take it down
Whoa.
at number one. I think he's just absolutely ready to shred it. So
I love the picks. Yeah, I would love for Eagle to come back on tour after a very short season for him,
I mean,
given his
pretty much,
injury.
as far as I'm concerned, only played the majors, maybe a
In
couple
a
events
handful of
tops.
quick tours, I think, because he tried to play on tour and then the injury just became too much. Yeah, he played Vegas.
He played
And he
Jonesboro.
played,
I think those are the only two other than majors, and he had some A tiers, but primarily in Colorado.
yeah, he played the Boulder County Disc Golf Championships. C tier.
Definitely.
Shout out to that tournament.
So we're excited for the Las Vegas Challenge. We're just absolutely thrilled for the Pro Tour season starting. Yeah, this is why, even in the midst of like hard schedules, we wanted to put something together for you guys because we know this is a huge week. And we had to get the job done. So, Trey,
Oh, most
we're running
definitely.
in here at 30 minutes. Do you want to call it? Do you want to run the fun and games real quick? It's all up to you, my man.
Hey, let's get the fun and games in. It's a fan favorite segment, I'm sure.
Let's do it. All right. What do you got for me?
So, Infinite Discs runs a monthly list where they announce the top selling discs from their website. And so I'm gonna have you name the top 5 selling discs from January 2023 on infinitediscs.com. And
All
so
right.
I'm gonna need the manufacturer, the plastic, and the disc.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So January 2023. Uh, I'm gonna have to. Man, this is hard because you got the mix of quantity versus availability. Like my brain immediately wants to go and say the Lazada, the uh, Axiom Hex, and whatever plastic you call that glow plastic. I mean, is that on the list at all?
I mean, I've got the top 20 on my list, and it did not make I think the hex, I think that might be an availability issue, but the hex
That was
did
my
not
thoughts.
win.
Is I would assume those sold out quick and more than likely just don't have the same like availability to hit the sales marks.
Right. And so I'll give you a little bit of a hint. 3 of these discs are very new, and 2 of these discs are very well established.
Uh, well, the other area that I was going to go was just like the Innova Destroyer. Does that fall in the typical?
Yes. So the Innova Star Destroyer comes in at number
Right.
5.
That's as expected. The Discraft Buzz and ESP plastic is that
So Discraft and ESP are in the number 4 slot, but it is not the Buzz.
Discraft and ESP, but it's not the Buzz. I mean, I'll run my picks go in the order of Zone
Nope.
and then Zeus.
You're heading in the right direction.
I'm heading in the right direction, Lord. The nuke.
Um, go in the Macbeth direction.
Is it a six time?
So, I
Or
mean,
are we like is this like particularly like
it's
the
one of the Macbeth discs.
the Athena, I assume?
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
the Athena comes in at number 4.
Does it give like a notation of like what specifically like a six time?
No, it just says Discraft Signature ESP Athena. So I think the Athena's just sold really, really well in
That
January.
makes sense. And then you said three of these are relatively newer. Do you have a feeling that I would be like aware of these discs?
Oh, you're definitely aware of these
Now,
discs.
is this new in the sense
You've
that the plastic
thrown
is new, or is it like established discs?
so it's all from the popular companies. I'll just tell you that the companies that you've got left, you've got 2 Innova discs and 1 MVP disc.
Two Innova discs and one MVP disc. Lord, what is new in the realm of MVP? Did you say these are like new releases, like as
So,
in
yeah, one of the Innova discs is old, one of the Innova discs is new, and the MVP disc is pretty new, I'd say in the last 3 or 4 months.
Lord, like an Innova? Well, you said it's like old as in like this is like the Innova Rock 3 in like Champion plastic or something.
You're, yeah, I mean, around that era. Um, it's not in Champion or Star Plastic.
Is it
That
like
the old disc is. The new disc is in Star Plastic, I'll give you that.
the new disc is in Star Plastic? Oh,
Mhm.
Lord, is this like the Polecat?
No, I'm gonna give you number
What do we
3.
got?
I'm gonna give you number 3 because I don't think you're gonna get this one. It is the Star Charger.
Yeah, I definitely would not have gotten that one.
It's the
You
brand
said
new
the other
disc.
one is something I would know.
Yes, I mean, Matt throws this disc.
The T Bird,
Slower.
slower, the ADR X3, or
Um,
just the base ADR.
no, it's the Pig.
Pig. That makes sense. I just always assume that the Pig doesn't sell as good now because obviously Ricky isn't throwing Innova.
But Bradley Williams is throwing it.
Yeah, but like there's an obvious level difference between Ricky and like number 5 through 25. Like
Oh, I'm mainly in jest, but the pig is just an awesome disc.
And then on the, you said it was an MVP disc. Is this one that I would know as well? I don't really throw. Is this the why am I? Is this the one that came in your Gyropalooza box that was like?
No, it's not that
Is
one.
this the glitch? Is this the
Yes,
glitch?
it is the glitch.
Okay,
The
that
glitch
makes sense.
is the number one selling disc on Infinite Discs in January.
That makes sense, especially with like the whole Simon stuff kind of blooming. That disc in general being a fun release. That makes sense.
Yeah, I've got two of them. I love that disc. But yeah, that'll do it for Foshi's Fun and Games, and I think that'll do it for the podcast.
That will. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll try to make it in person next time when we have a chance. So we're excited for you guys. The only other thing, and obviously this at the very end, we're doing the fantasy on a week to week basis. We've got the site up and running. If you're interested in playing fantasy on any given week, it's not a season long fantasy where you draft one time and you're choosing players throughout the season. Every week is a new week. You can play when you have the opportunity to. You don't have to play another week. So we'll keep it rocking. We've got two groups for the Las Vegas Challenge, and Trey and I are in different groups. And so you and I are both going to take dubs this week.
Oh, absolutely. We're both going
So,
to be taking it down.
heck yeah. So appreciate you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.